how to make all West Tennessee without really trying? Hello, my name is Jim Golson. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the All West material. As you know, many young clarinetists are horribly defeated before they even take the instrument out of the case. I cannot tell you how many times I have attempted to play a student's instrument only to find that it has a devilish assortment of cracks, bad pads, and a warped mouthpiece. Before you discard your clarinet with the label, "I have no talent," be sure that you have a competent repair person check your instrument. We are very fortunate in Memphis to have several of these people of the highest caliber available, and should you like, you can contact me, Jim Golson, at Memphis State University, and I'd be very happy to pass these names along to you. Pictured before you, you see a metronome, a Giatti ligature and cap, a small holder of cork grease, and a clarinet swab. These are all important materials to the clarinet performer. You should have these readily available to you, and some of them you may even keep in your case. To prepare for your audition, read the first line of music playing only the downbeats. Of course, you have set the metronome at a comfortable and slightly challenging tempo. Now go back and mark those downbeats in pencil with a straight line. Practice playing these downbeats with the metronome until you can do this with ease. Now attempt to play the downbeats and upbeats. Mark the upbeats with a V. Practice playing both downbeats and upbeats until you feel absolutely comfortable. Your All West material includes selections chosen from Rose number 32 studies. The selections are numbers 2, 11, and 26. As you can see, in number 2, the downbeats are already marked. The dynamic will be mezzo forte, and I'll just play the downbeats for you using full sustained notes in rhythm. In number 11, the problems are a little different because this is not so much of a technical study as it is a study to demonstrate the quality of your sound and the quality of your legato playing. I would play number 11 in 6. Repeat, I will play number 11 in 6. Here again, in order to firmly establish the rhythm, I will articulate each note, playing only the downbeats as they are marked in the piece. Number 26 is a technical study requiring great skill. It is marked Allegro Furioso and should be played fast with fury. As you can see, the downbeats have already been marked. I'll play them for you. Let's add the upbeats. As you can see, this process is very important in this exercise and should be followed and continued for each and every line in this piece. Here you have a look at number 2 of the All West material for this year for clarinet. In it, the beats are marked with straight lines for the downbeats, and also the breath marks are marked. Please be sure you have this in your music, marked carefully throughout. Here you see number 11 in the rows 32 studies. The indication is larghetto, and you have the downbeats and the upbeats very carefully marked for your convenience. Please copy these markings and be sure you have them in your music. Included are the downbeats, the upbeats, and your breath marks. In number 2, the metronome marking equals approximately the 8th note to 126. The 8th note equals 126. I will give you a demonstration of how to play just the first line of this piece. The 8th note equals 126. Number 2 in your row studies for All West material is marked allegro, 3/8 time. We should take this with 3 beats to the measure, very slowly at first, always when you're practicing, very slowly at first and get faster. The downbeats are marked. Be sure that you pay very strict attention to the slurs and staccato markings. The 5th line from the bottom has no marks in the descending passage. I would play that passage all staccato. I would play that particular passage with those notes, those 16th notes descending, being treated as staccato notes. In all other instances, be sure that you pay very close attention to the slurs that are marked. Sometimes you have 6 notes slurred, sometimes you have only 2 notes slurred, so be careful. When you play all of your notes in the altissimo register, D and above, be sure that you use the E flat key. When you play your notes D and above in the altissimo register, use your E flat key. If I were a judge, I'd be most interested in your maintaining a steady rhythm. Now, I'm going to play this piece through for you in entirety. I want you to emphasize rhythmic continuity. In other words, I want you to play just the downbeats entirely straight through the piece, and I want you to be only concerned with keeping a steady beat and going from the beginning to the end, emphasizing the rhythmic structure of the piece. how'd you do? Did you play along with me? Okay, this time, you play right along with me, playing just the downbeats in this piece. Here we go again. Now, this time, let's do it a little differently. Let's add a little twist to it. You play just the downbeats along with me, and I'll play the piece exactly as written. How'd you make out? Pretty well? Good. Practice that piece very carefully, very cautiously, and be very particular and careful about your articulations. In number 11 in the Rose 32, which you will also be playing for your All West material, the marking is larghetto, which means fairly slowly. In this particular exercise, I would subdivide, which means that I would play this piece in 6, and I would also mark the downbeats and the upbeats. Here again, we're emphasizing rhythmic continuity, and I would play just the downbeats straight through. Then I would go back in this piece and play both the downbeats and the upbeats, and then I would put it all together. If I were a judge, a couple of things I would be looking for here. Number one, you start with a piano. The marking is con duolo, which means sweetly. And I would be extremely careful beyond words even, about my dynamics. Very important. You have already given you the breath marks which were marked in the previous shots. Be careful here also when you go into your upper register, your altissimo register, we call that, for all the notes C and above. When you get to your high D, be sure that that E flat key is down. Okay, this is number 11 with only the downbeats. Now also in number 11, be careful that in the fourth line from the top, you make a difference between the legato staccato, which is marked, and the accents, which are marked following the legato staccato notes. The marking there beneath all of those notes is très large, which means very broadly. Are you playing with me? Okay, this time we'll go through, we'll play both the downbeats and the upbeats. Feel free to play right along with me on this tape. The more practice you can get, the better off you'll be. Now you may have noticed that time through, when we got to the triplets, almost impossible for us at this stage to split those triplets right in half. So as far as the upbeats in the triplets are concerned, leave those upbeats out. All right, now, let's play it straight through, as written, with all of the slurs. You be very sure that you play the dynamics that are written, the exact articulations that are written, make your diminuendos and your crescendos in the line next to the end. Okay, the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line from the top, that is almost a long crescendo throughout that entire line. You have crescendo, the word crescendo, but you might be well advised to make a long crescendo throughout those 2 bars. Be careful about that. I'll play the piece for you as written. You play just the downbeats. Now, take that tape, turn it backwards, go right to where that piece ended, then go back where it started, and pitch. And the embouchure. Okay, now this is time one. I'm gonna do the same monotone you just did. Okay, now this is a little different. Listen to that. And ever so slightly in your upper chest without raising your shoulders. What I would do in number 11 is play just the last 2 bars to set up the wind column. And actually, when you go to your All West material, you might want to start out with these last 2 bars, just making sure that everything is working properly as far as your breathing is concerned. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Suppose you rush in. You get there at the last minute, you're out of breath. It might sound something like this if you were playing number 11. that's because the wind is not being well supported. You're not putting a steady column of air through the clarinet. You're not doing those things that you know are important to producing a good, steady sound. In order to make sure that your sound is steady and that your breathing is absolutely correct, warm up on these 2 bars. Warm up before you play on the last 2 bars of number 11 to be sure that your air is working properly to your best advantage. Now we're ready to go on to number 26. In number 26, very important to remember a lot of things. Remember that when you have E flat in this key, and they'll come fast and furiously since it is marked Allegro Furioso, take your C on the left-hand side of the clarinet prior to playing the E flat. Otherwise, you have a right-handed slide, and it's a terrible slide compounded by the fact that you have to slide up instead of down. We do slide on the clarinet, but we always try to slide down, never up. So take the C on the left-hand portion of the clarinet. Be sure that your altissimo register Ds are played with the E flat key in the right hand. Be sure that you've got your downbeats and your upbeats marked and that you can play them through at a tempo marking of approximately 120. The tempo marking is 120 with the downbeats and the upbeats for rhythmic continuity. Number 1, so that you know that you have the stamina to go entirely through the piece. Number 2, so that you understand the rhythmic structure of the piece with just the downbeats and the upbeats. And number 3, so that if you do happen to stumble and make an error, you can recover. You can recover, a very important word, and continue playing, even if you have made that mistake. This is number 26 with the downbeats only. Of course you played along with me, right? Right. Thinking ahead every second. Now, let's add the upbeats. Be careful about this piece because it's all forte, so don't allow your attention to slacken. Keep it forte throughout. This is number 26. You're playing with me. The downbeats and the upbeats. One thing you should be cautious about before we get to the downbeats and upbeats, this piece has a lot of chromatic scales, and we'll play those scales in a very few minutes once we get the beats established. Be sure that when you play your chromatic scales, you take your left-handed E flat or D sharp key, and you also take the 5 key in the right for B natural, going from B flat to B natural. Okay, let's emphasize rhythmic continuity here. Let's talk about going straight through this piece. You're playing the downbeats and the upbeats. I'm playing the piece as written. Let's see what we come up with. In other words, we got a duet going. Okay, you've got the downbeats and the upbeats. I've got the piece as written. Then we'll reverse the roles. So be ready. Here we go. You take the piece as written, and I'll be playing the piece with just the downbeats and the upbeats. This is for your practice, so be careful. Be careful to practice that steadily with the proper dynamics and every best wish in your All West material. If you find that you need additional help, or if you want me to listen to you play, send me a cassette or call me Jim Golson at Memphis State University. I'm in the music department. Thanks.